Thanks for the support as a channel member, Ollie Collins. Thanks to a couple of defeats, our start to the season wasn't quite as spectacular as previously advertised. However, today we can turn it all around because we play Barnsley and Juventus. Hello and welcome to Club 4, part 24 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have those games away against Barnsley in the Premier League and at home against Juventus in the Champions League. Since you were last with me, these are the two defeats I was talking about. We narrowly lost against Arsenal, and it was a narrow defeat. We were very competitive in that game, even though we got our goal fairly late on. It was close throughout. The game against Brighton, not so much. We were really poor in this game, and it has led me to think that maybe the diamond with the positive instruction doesn't work in away games, because it worked well against Palace, worked well against Barcelona in a neutral venue, but away from home it failed twice. It then worked at home, didn't work again away from home. So for the Celtic game, we actually went back to a 4-3-3 with a counter-attacking instruction on it, and it was boring as hell to watch. But we did manage to grind out an away win against Celtic in a game the media thought we were going to lose. And then back to the diamond, back to winning ways. Beat Liverpool. We did use a diamond against Blackburn in the EFL Cup because it's the EFL Cup and nobody cares. Plus it was a bunch of reserves and these guys, not that many reserves. In fact, I think that was the game where Fotheringham scored goal of the season. Is this the goal? I think this might be the goal. If it wasn't this one, he scored another absolute screamer. But we'll have a look at this one. He played as the attacking Mezzala in this game. The guy who played centre-back for my England team throughout the Euros. We played him as the more attacking of our two central midfielders in this match. He was awesome. And then this goal, if this is the one, was absolutely stunning. So Fotheringham, I think, has a future as a midfield player. Just as I knew all along. That's where I played him at the World Cup 2 years ago. But we are back into normality. No cups first up. We're playing against Barnsley. I mean, we are only 6 games in, so those 2 defeats having a more profound effect on the league table than you would expect. But hopefully we can get back to winning ways today, or continue winning ways, because we haven't lost since that Brighton game. But the Brighton game was really, really poor. But we are, once again, going away from home and trying to do the diamond. If it doesn't work today, I'm never doing the diamond away from home again. So we've got Francisco in goal, a back four of Sessegnon, Van Hoesten, Van Falvey and Kawamata. Vermonti at the base of the midfield, so Vargas can play further forward. And we're going to play Fotheringham in the attacking Mezzala role because, like I say, he was superb there against Blackburn. I know it was only against Blackburn, but you just saw the goal he scored. He deserves a chance to play there in the league. If he's rubbish, then we won't play him there again. But it does give Gravenberch the opportunity to play a little bit further forward in behind the strikers. And those strikers are Carlos and Fernando. Let's get into the game. Let's see how many of our Barnsley team are still there. Submit the team and see if they've completely just disassembled my beautiful, beautiful team that, as a few people have said, probably would have won the Europa League last season if I'd have stayed there. So that front 3, not mine. Gudger still there and captain, and he's grown a beard, which is lovely stuff. Stockbridge and Dean both still there. So I'm surprised Gudger's there and Dean is there, because I signed Dean to play there, and Gudger, we know, is a very good box-to-box midfielder. Stockbridge, a good deep-line playmaker. I would shuffle that midfield around and it would look much better. John Stones has gone back to Barnsley. That's awesome. I like the fact he's gone back. So John Stones has gone back. Williams is still there. These two are new. And Esselink is the one that I signed just before I left. But I love the fact that John Stones, age 34, has gone back to Barnsley. That's awesome. We questioned why he was a club icon, and now we know, because he always wanted to go back. That's made my day, seeing that he's done that. Right, we are favourites. Let's go out there. Now he's made my day, we want to go and ruin his. Of course, the problem is we've clicked on his name, and we all know what that means. John Stones scoring from a corner, guaranteed now. But hopefully we can still outscore them with our wonderful attacking play. It hasn't been very wonderful in away games so far. Maybe today's the day that it clicks. Kawamata coming forward on this right-hand side. Lovely pass from Vargas. Fernando is in and probably took a touch too many there. I know he only took 2 touches in total, but I feel like he'd have been a little bit better just hitting that first time rather than taking it almost to the goal line before then trying to squeeze a shot away, because he was never going to score from that angle. He's not Kanu. Reference for people as old as me. Kawamata charging down the right hand side again. Fernando's in again. This time does hit it first time, and it's much more effective. It wins a corner for us. And Gravenberch goes over the take. Corner comes in, and it's not a very good one, and it's just cleared. But the move's actually continuing, and Carlos ends up with a good chance, but the header is saved by Esselink in goal for Barnsley. But we've had 2 clear-cut chances so far, so we are playing quite well. Now we just need to score some goals to go with it, because looking at those match stats, we're having a very good game so far. But Barnsley are in there, and Francisco making a little bit of a meal of it. I mean, he did manage to make the save, but didn't look very confident and comfortable doing it. And Barnsley have got the ball back again in midfield, and Stockbridge plays it out to these strangers who are wearing Barnsley shirts on this right-hand side. And we need to tackle some of these strangers. What's happening here? For goodness sake, it's their second shot of the game. And despite us dominating the first 15 minutes, Barnsley have gone ahead. We just cannot use this attacking diamond away from home. Maybe we just need to drop back to a balanced mentality for away games. Perhaps it's not as drastic as needing to do a completely different system. Because thinking about it, the 4-3-3 isn't any more defensive than the diamond, I don't think. It still basically has a midfield 3, a holding midfield player, 2 in front of him, and then 3 attackers. We're just arranging the 3 attackers differently. And I don't see that it makes it that much more defensively solid, arranging our attackers in a different shape. But for whatever reason, we just are pathetic away from home with the diamond. And it's not that we're not playing well, because this is the same story as the Brighton game. We absolutely outplayed them and dominated them, but just couldn't score goals. It's like our front 2, who we've seen be so very good in our home games and in that game against Barcelona. They just don't perform away from home. Carlos is in and is proving me wrong. And there's the 8th goal of the season for Antonio Carlos. It's an assist for Sessegnon. And it's taken us 15 minutes to get back into the game. But on the half-hour mark, it is Barnsley 1, Tottenham 1, and Sessegnon did very well here. It's a lovely ball forward, and Carlos always was going to beat this guy for pace. And once he got in, I was expecting him to miss again, to be honest, because he's already done that once today, but he didn't. And for that, I shall forever love him. Unless we lose this game, in which case I'll fall out with him because he needs to start converting all of his chances. It's a poor pass that ends up freeing up Kawamata on the right-hand side, who is charging into the area, has a shot when really, looking at the queue of Spurs shirts in there ready to tap in across, was probably the wrong decision. But why is Van Houston taking throw-ins as well? Fernando's in here. We've not seen much of Fernando yet today, and he's gone to the near post when he really should be going to the far post there, and made it a very easy save for Esselink. He'd have to be doing pretty poorly to concede that goal from that angle. And Fernando just needs to do a little bit better when he gets in those kind of positions. That's what I'm talking about. Creating good chances. We had 4 clear-cut chances, but for some reason, when we're away from home, they don't convert them, and I don't know what the reason is yet. I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. Foderingham, beautiful play from Foderingham to win the ball back. That's what happens when you play a centre-back in central midfield. He's up there defending from the front, but not only that, he's got the quality about him as a midfielder to then play the killer pass. We've seen complete central midfield play from Foderingham in the last 10 minutes, from the goal in the previous game to the tackle there and the pass there. Foderingham might just be the Patrick Vieira, Roy Keane style central midfielder that I've been going on about wanting for 2 years, and he was here all along. Well, aren't I a silly bear? Especially when I'd already identified him as that before I was Spurs manager, because I played him there for England when I was still managing Barnsley. And then for whatever reason, forgot he was a midfielder, spent 2 years having him as a reserve centre-back, signed a load of midfielders, and now he's going to keep them out of the team because he's having another very good game. We've got a final chance here, I think, before half-time, a free kick. Quite a long way out for Gravenberch, but we've seen him score from here before, and he forces the save out of Esselink. But looking at those stats, you would think we were 4 or 5-0 up after that first half. We have utterly dominated Barnsley, but we can't escape the fact that we're only 1 goal ahead, and we are a little bit porous at the back. It's a word I use a lot at the moment because it really does describe our defence. We play basically a back two with wing backs and no midfield cover because whoever plays at the base of the midfield is playing on a support instruction. You can see Vermonti's right up there with Fotheringham today. Vargas usually gets very far forward as well. So we're not offering much protection to our centre-backs. And you can see how forward Sessegnon and Kawamata get. Fernando does make it 3-1 before half-time, which is good because we blooming needed it to justify this a little bit. But I am conscious that we're a little bit weak at the back. And we do need, we kind of need a plan B for some of the bigger away games. But I think today, even though we are suffering from the same... I don't know what it is, stage fright, inability to convert chances in away games that we've had for quite a while this season. At least we're that much better than Barnsley that we're still overpowering them regardless, which is a luxury we don't get against the likes of Arsenal, as we saw against them, where although it was a competitive game, they were always in control of the scoreline. Banfalvi plays it out to Kawamata, who's charging forward on the right-hand side. I have to remember when I play Kawamata to switch the attacking instruction around, and I haven't done it today, because when Jair's in the team, I want him to be the attacking fullback, but when Kawamata's in the team, I want Sessegnon to be the attacking fullback, and I always forget to swap them around. Kawamata creating all sorts of problems in there, though, and does ultimately result in a goal for Gravenberch, who, because I've been focused so much on what's going on with Fotheringham and the fullbacks, I haven't really been paying much attention to Gravenberch playing in this new-ish position. It's a position he's supposed to be very, very good at, but we've never really used him there. But he is playing a little bit more attacking today. He already scores a lot of goals for us, but he's scored another one there, tucked in behind the strikers. And looking at that, seems to be having a pretty good game, as the entire front three are. Doesn't tell the whole story when you look at those stats. Right, we are going to take Fotheringham off because he's going to be tiring. He played a lot of he played the full match against Blackburn. He's played the full match again today. We've got Juventus coming up. I'm not sure if I'm going to use him against Juventus. That feels a little bit ambitious when we're still basically training him to do this position. But he needs a bit of rest regardless. And for my other change, we will bring Jair on for Kawamata to justify the fact that our right-sided fullback is the one who's on attack. We're going to drop a little bit of praise as well and just give Jair license to go and do Jair things for the last 20 minutes of the game. I do feel a little bit guilty that we're... Poor old Barnsley are going down this year, aren't they? And we're absolutely stuffing them at home. And if the Barnsley fans still liked me to this point, I think today's the day they decided they didn't like me. But then, to be fair, their current manager's an idiot because he's brought Scuck on to play on the right-hand side. Marius Hegley's come on in midfield, though. Talk about channel members. We mentioned Ryan Lawson in the last episode, or a couple of episodes ago, getting on the bench for the Europa League final. Marius Hegley is playing Premier League football there. Hold the phone. Let's have a little look at him. 20 years old now played 24 times for Latvia. And, I mean, okay, he's not playing regularly, but we're actually seeing Marius Hegley in action on the channel. I think that makes him this year's first channel member to actually appear playing a match in a video. I'm sure if someone else has got there first, they'll correct me for being wrong, but round of applause down in the comments for Marius Hegley. I'm sure he'll announce himself, and when he does, you can guarantee his comment's going to get pinned. But there you go, Marius. We've seen you play now. Well done for everybody. Pats on the head all round, and hopefully we can continue the second half form against Juventus, because we just dominated the game for the second half and it was nice. I guess we kind of did in the first half too. We actually scored most of our goals in the first half, didn't we? Just play. Look at all the dribbling, in fact, that Fernando's doing. I do like dribbling. Couple of changes for the Juventus game then. I'm not quite brave enough to play Fotheringham there in a big match like this one. So Gravenberch drops back into the middle of midfield. Rock comes in to play in behind the front two. Jair also back in the team as well because we want him to do Jair things, which is officially all these. That's the only personalised instruction he gets. Just go out there, be Jair, do Jair things. Just you're magical. Go be magical. You're wonderful 20-year-old. This is the Juventus team. They've still got this fella knocking around. Used to be considered the best young mid defender in the world. That's this fella now. Look at him. Banfalvi's not quite got the defined features that De Ligt has. Almost looks like he's wearing a hat, doesn't he? bless him. But he doesn't care about his appearance. He's not going to grow a beard like Vargas. He's more interested in just wearing a hat instead of hair and being very good at defending. So can't really argue with that. Right. Go out there, carry on where you left off. Exactly. That's what we want to do. We did, of course, beat Celtic in the first match in the Champions League away from home. If we can beat Juventus here, we have 1 foot in the next round already, I think, after just 2 games, because I'd like to think we should be able to beat Stuttgart home and away. I haven't looked how good Stuttgart are, so that might be I might be being a little bit presumptuous there, but they're Stuttgart, aren't they? They're not Spurs or Juventus. Celtic are artificially good because we've got Scotland loaded, so that makes the Scottish teams better than they would be in real life. Apologies to Celtic fans, but you wouldn't be a real threat to Juventus or Tottenham in reality, would you? All the examples from the last however many years of Celtic beat so and so on this date. I'm sure you did. I'm sure it was lovely. How many trophies did you win? And we don't count the Scottish Premier League. How many European trophies? And I know you were the first British team to win one, and I know you're going to tell me that as well. I'm just going to stop talking about this. I'll continue picking on Stuttgart. The important thing is Juventus are obviously our big threat, and after we did mess up the group stage in the Champions League last time and end up in the Europa League where we had to stay for 2 years as a punishment, I think that's what that was all about. It would make me happy to beat Juventus in at least the home game and find ourselves top of the group after 2 games. That would be a nice start to a Champions League campaign where, remember, the board are expecting me to get to the semi-finals of this competition now, first time back for 2 years. So they've clearly got grand ideas of how good we actually are. Gravenberch, ball forward, De Ligt clears, but Rott picks up the scraps, and Gravenberch is there to try and keep things moving, but ends up losing the ball. But there's Banfalvi getting himself into a crossing position. Will he cross it? Of course he blooming will, and Carlos is there, and Carlos scores. And Banfalvi, on the same pitch as De Ligt, showing he's not just a defender, he's also a flying winger as well, and can put in a lovely cross for Carlos to now do to Juventus what he did against Barcelona, and that is score a very, very good goal. Of course, he got 2 against Barcelona. And look at that moustache that he's got as well. He's a very handsome man. Weirdly, in his little profile picture, he's got no hair. On the pitch, he has a full head of hair. So I don't know if that is an example of him genuinely wearing a hat when he plays, or if his profile pic is just a little out of date. But either way, unless his moustache kind of blows back over the top of his head in the match engine, that could be a thing. But now he's scoring against big teams like Juventus and Barcelona in big matches. If we do bottle it again this year, we don't keep him, do we? Obviously, because he's proven already after just a couple of months of this season that he's the real deal. He's a top level international Champions League level striker, and so is Wesley Fernando. And there is his his first goal of the game, his 5th goal of the season. It's a lovely free kick from Gravenberch. It's a lovely header from Fernando, and it's lovely seeing us 2-0 up against Juventus on the scoreboard with nearly an hour of the game gone. Sessegnon now playing it forward, looking for Antonio Carlos to chase. We know how dangerous he is cutting in from this wing. He skips past his man and doesn't quite get the shot away this time, but he does give me Thierry Henry vibes because he drifts wide, cuts inside, and then plays it on his strong foot. And look at that from Banfalvi. He's doing the chicken dance to celebrate the Banfalvi chicken dance. It's that's a gif. Take that as a gif, everybody. Just Banfalvi doing the chicken as he runs away. Look at him. Here he goes. Here he goes. The Banfalvi chicken. It's 3-0 to Spurs. This is insane. They're bringing on Dybala now because they're afraid of us, and they should be afraid of us. This is a very good game of football. If we can just figure out how to play this well away from home, we'll win the Champions League. Sessegnon just dances past his defender as if he's not there. And Antonio Carlos, after scoring twice against Barcelona, has now scored twice against Juventus as well. It's his 10th goal of the season. He was a steal. We paid less than £20 million for him. It really puts into context just how much I've overpaid for some of these other players over the last few years. When you can pick up a player like Antonio Carlos, we got the advantage with him is we got him while he was still playing in Brazil. So we managed to get him on the cheap let's just double check my facts here. 22 million from Corinthians. We get him before his big move, whereas Wesley Fernando, who we did pay a lot of money for, obviously had his big move from Flamengo to Napoli all the way back then, so we had to pay loads more for him. But we need to make sure we're continuing to scout South America. We haven't got enough Brazilians yet. Right, we're 4-0 up. What on earth do we do here? I tell you what we do. We bring Fotheringham on and continue his development as the Patrick Vieira of Tottenham. We're also going to take off Rott and bring on, you know what? We're going to bring on Jadon Sancho. He's training to play as an attacking midfielder. I know Dele Alli's going to be a little bit disappointed, but Dele Alli's 33 years old and doesn't need to come on in this game. We're 4-0 up. Jadon Sancho has an opportunity to play at the top level again. It might motivate him. It'd be lovely for something to motivate him. And even if it doesn't, if he plays well, Juventus were in for him in the summer. They were the team who were interested. Yes, they didn't offer enough money, but you know, if he plays well, they might offer a bit more at Christmas. Fernando trying to get the shot away, but it's Dybala who's chasing the counter-attack for Juventus. I imagine he's pretty old now, so you know, if they need a Jadon Sancho-shaped replacement for him, he's there. If they want to give me 100 million quid for him, I hope we're not about to let Juventus back into this game because we committed so many men forward then. I think we probably need to use a little bit of smarts and actually drop back to something a little bit more sensible. This is the counter-attacking system we've been training. Get Sancho out wide. Have we got someone who can actually play on the left wing properly? I know Fernando can. I think we'll stick Sancho out there as an inside forward because that's always worked. I'm happy with this. It's just, do we want Fernando there or do we want to bring on Dele Alli? We're going to bring on Dele Alli, don't we? We're going to bring on Dele Alli to play on the left-hand side. Sancho can play as a winger for once. And we drop back to a counter-attacking 4-3-3. We drop a little bit of praise because we have played very well, but we don't want to be letting them back into the game now. We let them have one when we had literally 2 players back while they hit us on a counter-attack. We're not going to make that mistake again. Kev does tactics, boys and girls. And hopefully, even if they score here, which De Ligt nearly got his goal from a free kick that he promised he'd get early on as soon as we clicked on his name. You can see just how many men Juventus are committing forward now, but we've got lots of players back and also a lightning quick counter-attack. And here is Matt Fotheringham, the Patrick Vieira of Tottenham. I bet Spurs fans love him being described like that. Kev, there must be another midfielder you can name him after. He doesn't have to be the Patrick Vieira of Tottenham. Jair, doing Jair things down the right-hand side. He hasn't done many Jair things yet today. Vargas, Sancho, all the way back to Vermonti. There's 10 seconds left. Jair in a crossing position. Can he beat his man? He doesn't for once. That's a little bit unusual, but it doesn't matter because we've absolutely hammered Juventus. And like I said before the match, it does feel like we've got 1 foot in the next round now because you'd like to think we'll beat Celtic at home because we've already beaten them away. So that's 9 points. Yes, we'll probably lose to Juventus away, but then we just have to beat Stuttgart at home, and 12 points is enough to get through. So we don't even have to go to Stuttgart and pick up a victory at their place now, based on that result and the Celtic result. So that is massive. Congratulations, gentlemen. That has been a very, very good September. If we ignore Norwich, that's a good September. We'll mess it up against Swansea now, I imagine. But we will come back, I think, probably for that Stuttgart away game, because that's, I guess, where we could qualify. We've got Stuttgart at home. I mean, if we beat them at home and then go and beat them away, we'll qualify for the next round there. So let's do Stuttgart away. And then if we have to do Juventus away again in the next episode because it's looking a bit iffy, then we've got that as an option as well. So breaks up the episodes nicely. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.